Kate writes, which one has more chance of winning Best Picture first, a documentary or an animated movie?
Animated movie, I think, probably has the better chance, because more and more we're seeing the industry in Hollywood. I mean, look, just a few years ago, the only animated film ever in history to be nominated was Beauty and the Beast, and that was forever ago. Now we've had a few others nominated, so I think it's being accepted more for that. It's going to be a tough uphill climb for a documentary, because it's such a different kind of film. Like, it's not
has
narrative.
its own, and it has its own category anyway.
Yeah,
so it's sort of like that's a.
So does animated, but that's a little bit different. So I would say animated.
Yeah, animated, 100%.
Yeah, the advent of animated movies having their own category in the Oscars, but even that being a fairly recent development, whereas documentary's been around forever. Cartel Land was one of the best movies I saw last year for sure, but I think that more animated movies have been nominated for Best Picture. You got to get in the dance in order to win the contest.
All right, what's next?
Hunter Bergfeld writes, if movies didn't exist, what would your careers be?
Sports broadcaster. I would totally be a sports broadcaster instead. I would have gone into sports talk.
If movies didn't exist, does that mean television doesn't exist? It's kind of a weird question. I would be making sand piles in outer space with my Plune bot.
Steph and I would be roadies on the Metal Planet. Every time a new band wants to play the Metal Planet, I'd just be telling more dick
Our
jokes.
band would be called Space Bear, and we would destroy you.
Space Bear. All right, what's next?
Michael Blake writes, are you not doing Walking Dead recaps anymore, or any other TV recaps like Arrow, Flash, Legends?
No, we're not, because Walking Dead sucks, and so does anybody who likes it. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
What are you talking about?
I literally leaned into the mic.
Wait a second.
Because I wasn't on camera, and he said that, and I just want everybody to know. I was like,
No. So here's the thing, because I don't think we've said anything officially about this yet at this point. You know, we started up TV recap shows because we had a lot of you asking us to try them, and we have always had a very adventurous spirit around here that we're willing to try new things and go and try them. And we've done things in the past that we've tried and then they not worked out. No problem. We move on and turn our energies towards something else that might work better. And that's how we get some of the shows that we have now, which is great. And we said right from the beginning that TV recaps were going to be a gamble for us, but we are going to roll the dice on it. We're going to try it and see how it works out. Now, the unfortunate reality is that the interest from you guys has not really been there. Here's the funny thing. Most of our recap shows, if you look at the other major recap networks that do multiple recap shows, like for instance, our Arrow recap show triples and quadruples the viewership of other places' Arrow recap show. Our Flash recap show doubles and triples other people's recap shows. But they weren't to the numbers that we need here by our standards that made them worth the amount of resources, both people hours, talent, time, money to make those shows go. So, 20,000 views of an episode, for when you consider how many resources, both in people and finances and time, go into making those shows, it just became apparent to us that we had hit kind of the ceiling for most of them. So a decision was made. It wasn't my decision, but I fully endorsed the decision, though, personally, just so you know. A decision was made that the shows that were still on hiatus, and those included Walking Dead. What was another one of them, Dennis? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is still on hiatus, that we would not bring those back. And then we made the decision not to bring Supergirl back, even though we loved our team and everything like that. Only about 10,000 people a week were watching. So those aren't enough numbers to justify the resources that we're spending. And now as far as Arrow, Flash, and Star Wars Rebels goes, these are decisions that are being evaluated as they go. Now, as most of you know, I'm no longer in my position as of the end of this week. I'm moving on to some newer things. But I know that the people who are in charge, Dennis and the people that he confers with, they're still kind of evaluating that and deciding that. That's the most current information, right, Dennis, that we know of?
Yeah, just to note, it was not my decision.
And just to note, it was also not Dennis's decision.
It's weird. I totally heard it was Dennis Sang's decision to destroy. He said, I remember hearing him saying, cap it in the dome, all the recap shows, and the puppies, they got to go. I heard Zhang say that. The puppies part is true. All right, I'll go. I'll go with
yeah,
it.
Arrow, Flash, and Star Wars Rebels are being evaluated still, so they may stick around, they may not. Keep your eyes open, and if you've got an opinion, like, do you think, you know what, guys, I'm not really into those recaps. I'd like to see you put your energies into some other different type of programming. Send in an email and let us know. Are you somebody who really loves the recap shows that we're doing right now? Send an email. Let us know. We do want to hear what you guys think.
I'll tell you this, though. The Collider Schmoes merger is so brilliant for a number of reasons. One, because I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, and we do Walking Dead reviews on the Schmoes channel every week. We just uploaded one from last night, and as God is my witness, I will tell you this. As long as Rick's kid has at least one eyeball, we will continue to do Walking Dead reviews for every episode. Check it out.
Was that some kind of a spoiler?
No, not at all.
right, good.
Not at all. As long as he's got one functioning eyeball.
good.
How can you misconstrue that?
I don't know. It's very easy.
All right, what's next?
Raphael Hispanjo writes, what do you guys think of a movie based on the Stephen Avery case directed by David Fincher?
I think there's...
Why David Fincher? Can I just... Sorry, I know you're about to say that. I just like...
No,
David
please.
Fincher, there's a lot of other directors out there. He's not the spooky, weird guy who has to do stuff about murder. He made the one with with Iron Man and the Hulk. Leave him alone.
Poor David Fincher.
I
He's just
know.
got a pile of scripts in his pool.
All
and
dead
he's just reading them. He's like,
bodies.
oh, another dead body script.
Yeah.
Can't somebody send me like Zootopia 2?
Or something with an alien and a wooden planet. Come on.
Or Tim Burton. Tim Burton could do the guy's thing. I mean, that could go well. I mean, look, there's still so many things. We don't even know how this thing is going to really work itself out. So I think it's a little early to be thinking about movies, because what movie would it be? And before we know what movie it would be, how can we figure out what director should direct it if we don't even know what kind of movie it should be yet? So let's wait on that just a little bit. All right, what's next?
Evan Ryan writes, what is your favorite romantic comedy? Mine is The Proposal. I'm sorry for being so girly.
Oh, no problem. I love The Proposal. I think The Proposal is hilarious. And it's one of those. It was one of those really pleasant surprise movies for me too, because I didn't think the marketing for it looked all that great. I was a big fan of Ryan Reynolds, I was an okay fan of Sandra Bullock. It's the movie that, I mean, Betty White has always been on the map, but it's the movie that reinserted really Betty White into the forefront of the pop culture. That movie is freaking awesome. I love that. I don't know. I won't say 40-Year-Old Virgin because I don't really think you count that. I like Shaun of the Dead is kind of a rom-com zom. There's a few others that I really like, but and, you know, oddly enough too, I like How to Lose a Guy in
10 days.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days
Love
is
it.
actually really
Great
funny.
choice.
It's a fun movie. I'm curious, Ashley, what are some of your favorite romantic comedies?
Okay, going OG. This is OG for me. 10 Things I Hate About You. She's All That. That's like OG status. Sweet Home Alabama. I also
I like Sweet Home
love.
Alabama, actually, now that I
Yeah,
think
those
about
are
it.
some of my favorites.
I'm like a John Hughes, Breakfast Club. You got
Yeah,
16
Breakfast Club.
Candles.
Yep.
All Pretty in Pink. You can list them all. I'll be like, I'll watch all of those. I would say Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a weird kind of romantic horror comedy where you're like, if you've been, obviously, if you're old enough where you've been in multiple relationships, that one is like, and then see it with your take your non-existent girlfriend to see that film. Or
She exists. She's nonfiction.
Non-fiction girlfriend. Sorry.
Non-existent and
Right.
nonfiction are two very
Sorry.
different things.
I can't remember whether
you just
she
banish
exists.
my girlfriend to the metal
I
planet?
did put her to the metal planet for 5 seconds. But she's back.
Well, you know what?
But I want you to see that movie with her.
One of the things that made me believe in love was the Ryan Reynolds film, Definitely Maybe. Make sure
Love
you check
that
that
movie.
out. 500 Days of Summer is really good until the ending. When Harry Met Sally is an all-time classic.
Sure, yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle has a lot of heavy stuff to it, but it also has some really sweet moments in there too. I love romantic comedies. I'm a monster fan of them. I will sit down and watch anything that makes me giggle and believe that women can actually fall in love with a guy that just looks like me.
Trainwreck is a good recent romantic comedy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if I'd call it a romantic
Okay.
comedy though. I guess you'd be
Kinda
right.
romantic,
It kind of
yeah.
fits in there. Another Ryan, since we're on a Ryan Reynolds train right now. I think a tragically underappreciated one that a lot of you guys have not seen. It's a film he did with Amy Smart, and it's called Just Friends.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
That movie is, and Anna Faris is in it as well.
Hilarious, yeah.
That's right.
The movie is so funny. It's stupid as hell, but I thought it was really, really funny where he plays. That Ryan Reynolds was a fat kid when he was in
a fat kid,
school.
yeah.
And Amy Smart, who is awesome. I love her. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check out Just Friends, I'd say give it a whirl.
All right, Damian Luneman writes, how much screen time do you think Spider-Man will get in Civil War?
I think here's what I'm to the point that I believe. I believe that the minutes he has on screen will be significant as far as importance to the film. So he's not just going to swing by and say, "Hi guys," and it has no impact on the film. I think his role will be a important role in the film, but I still believe it will be a short role. I'm guessing no more than 10 minutes of screen time at his max.
I'd even say less. I don't think we're going to go inside of his house and see his day-to-day, going to high school. I think he'll be more from the outside with the, the Avengers or Captain America looking at him and seeing him and interacting with him, but less so from his perspective. I think that his perspective will be the Spider-Man film, and this will be like our first introduction to Peter Parker, and then perhaps a kid swinging around, then maybe getting a new outfit, something like that.
Well, let's look at how this movie's probably gonna play out. Okay, is that you're gonna have a film where whether it's the first two Avengers movies or any of the standalone ones, is that you have some battles, some skirmishes, then you have this one huge battle towards the end that is the climactic fight scene, right? Will Spider-Man be involved in that huge fight scene at the end between all these superheroes engaging in Civil War? You gotta think so, right? Even if they just throw him in there for a minute, I don't think he's going to have a huge role in the movie at all. I think he is just going to pretty much swing by and say, "Hey guys, make sure you catch my standalone movie." Maybe you get more Peter Parker and less Spider-Man, but you got to think you're going to see him in action at some point taking out somebody, because you have to prove in this movie that he's useful and that he belongs in this universe that we worked so hard behind the scenes to get him into.
Yeah, it's weird though, because it's like Black Panther, at least in the trailers that they show, seems to be on Tony Stark's side. So it makes me wonder, like, if he's introduced, you kind of get the feeling that he's going to have a scene with Steve Rogers, Peter Parker is, and he's also going to have a scene with Tony Stark. So what side is he going to end up on?
Well, look, they hint at him in Ant-Man, right? They hinted at him,
totally.
And then the end of Ant-Man had, I don't want to give it away, but it's like, if Captain America is involved and he's talking to Ant-Man, then maybe we would think that that's how you recruit Spider-Man. But, Tony Stark is rich. It can probably get the kid laid.
Speaking of Ant-Man, I watched that twice when I was on the plane, because the plane ride is really long. You get to watch such a fun movie. Just the Cure singing in that suitcase, just the Falcons, talking through Michael Pena. It's just, what a fun film.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.